Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to tackle a big one, like a really big question. What makes America economically great?
Ooh, that is a big one.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, lucky for us, we've got this really fascinating essay from 1951 as our guide. It's called, get this, What Makes America Great?
Straightforward.
Yeah, no messing around, right? It was written by an economist named Richard J. Gonzalez, and he presented it to, get this, the Society for the Advancement of Management. So, pretty serious stuff.
High stakes.
It was right in the middle of the post-WWII boom, too. So just a few years after the war, America's economy was already, skyrocketing. And Gonzalez, he was trying to figure out what was driving it. What were the secret ingredients to this economic miracle?
Right.
He boiled it down to three key factors, which we're going to unpack today. So are you ready to unlock the secrets of America's economic success?
I am so ready.
All right, let's do it.
Let's dive in.
Okay, so first, it's interesting. Gonzalez wasn't just celebrating America's success.
Right.
He wanted to really understand it.
Like the mechanics of it.
Yeah, what were the fundamental principles that were making it all work?
Exactly. And he believed that these principles, they weren't just specific to America. They were universal. You could apply them to any society that was striving for economic progress.
That's a bold claim.
It is.
All right, well, let's see if he can back it up. So his first key is capital. Now, when most people hear capital,
Money.
exactly, they think of money. But Gonzalez is talking about something a little bigger.
More than just dollars and cents.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what's he talking about?
He's talking about tools and machines. The things that amplify our productive power.
Okay.
Think about it. For centuries, human progress was pretty much limited by the tools we could power with our own muscles or with the help of animals.
Right, very basic stuff.
Yeah. But then, boom, the Industrial Revolution hits. And all of a sudden, we're harnessing the power of machines.
Game changer.
Total game changer.
Yeah.
We went from simple hand tools to steam engines and power looms, practically overnight.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
But how does this relate to America specifically?
So Gonzalez argues that America's booming industries, things like the automobile industry, right? They required massive amounts of capital investment to build those factories, to set up assembly lines, to buy all that specialized equipment.
It all costs money.
Big money, yeah. He gives this crazy example. In some industries, the equipment needed for just one worker.
Just one worker.
One worker.
Yeah.
Could cost over $100,000.
Wow.
Which back then was a fortune.
Yeah, that's more than most people make in a year, even today. So where did all this capital come from? Was it the government just pouring money into these industries?
That's what you might think, right?
Yeah.
But Gonzalez, he says, no, it wasn't primarily the government.
Interesting.
It was individual Americans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, driven by, you guessed it, the incentive of profit.
The American dream.
Exactly. They saw the potential for a better future. And they were willing to work hard, to delay gratification to make it happen.
Classic American entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. People taking a chance on new ideas, new technologies.
So it's like a snowball effect. Individual effort leads to more capital,
More production,
which leads to a higher standard of living for everyone.
ideally. Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you get the capital. But then there's this other question, right? How do you divide up the rewards?
Ooh, good point.
Who gets what? The people who provide the capital or the people who are actually operating the machines?
Right, the workers.
Yeah.
That tension between capital and labor, ooh, that's something we're still dealing with today.
Oh, absolutely. It's on the one hand, the workers are saying, hey, hold on. Those machines wouldn't be producing anything without us to run them.
Right, we're the ones doing the work.
But then the investors could say, well, without our machines, you wouldn't be nearly as productive.
Right, we took the risk, we provided the capital.
It's a tough one.
It's a classic dilemma. And Gonzalez, he acknowledges this tension.
Okay, so what does he say?
He says you have to provide the right incentives for people to invest their capital. He sees things like interest and profits as the rewards that encourage individuals to keep taking risks, to keep building those machines that drive progress.
Makes sense.
Without that incentive, he's worried the whole system would just stall out.
Okay, so we've got key #1, capital, the tools and machines that allow us to produce more.
Right.
But machines need fuel. And that brings us to Gonzalez's key, #2,
What is it?
energy.
Guess the fuel.
He actually calls it, get this, the modern Aladdin's lamp.
I love that.
Such a great image, right?
It is.
Energy really does seem to power everything in our lives. from transportation to manufacturing, even down to our smartphones.
Absolutely.
Gonzalez's point about the U.S. being an energy-intensive society in 1951, it's really striking.
Oh, yeah.
He uses this, like, mind-blowing analogy to illustrate just how dependent we were on energy.
Lay it on me.
He says, imagine needing 50 servants per person.
50 per person.
Working around the clock just to generate the energy we were using?
Wow. I can barely handle keeping my houseplant alive.
Right. It really puts things in perspective.
It does.
It highlights just how crucial abundant and affordable energy is to our way of life.
Boy.
And Gonzalez points out that America, back then, was overflowing with natural resources.
Lucky them.
But he also emphasizes that it wasn't just dumb luck, right? He credits the enterprise, the entrepreneurial spirit of the American people.
Right. They weren't just sitting on their resources.
Exactly. They're figuring out how to use them, how to turn them into actual wealth. He was particularly enthusiastic about oil and gas, and of course their role in fueling the, what he called the automobile revolution.
The open road.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting, though, because today we obviously have a much different perspective on fossil fuels.
Yeah, things have changed.
I'm curious, did he address any of the potential downsides of relying so heavily on oil and gas?
Well, remember, this was 1951. The environmental movement was, just starting to gain traction.
Yeah.
But what I find really fascinating is that Gonzalez, he didn't just focus on fossil fuels. He also hinted at the potential of solar and even nuclear power.
Oh, wow.
Technologies that were, still in their infancy back then.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time.
It shows real foresight, don't you think?
Definitely.
He was already looking ahead to the future of energy.
Okay, so we've got capital, we've got energy. But Gonzalez argues that these two keys, they can only truly unlock progress in the presence of a third. And even more crucial element.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is it?
Freedom.
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 That seems like a big jump. Going from, machines and energy to something as, I don't know, abstract as freedom.
It is a big jump.
Yeah.
But it's at the heart of Gonzalez's argument. He draws this really stark contrast between the rigid, tradition-bound societies of the past and the dynamism of a free society. He sees individual liberty as the essential ingredient that allows for innovation, for risk-taking, and ultimately for progress.
Interesting.
So he's basically saying that people need the freedom to try new things, to experiment, to succeed or fail on their own terms. Otherwise, you're just stuck in a rut doing things the way they've always been done.
Right. You can't have progress without some freedom to experiment.
Exactly.
And he goes even further. He compares a free society to a competitive marketplace of ideas. When individuals are free to pursue their own happiness, driven by their own unique aspirations and talents, it creates this vibrant and dynamic society that benefits everyone. It's like this chain reaction of innovation and progress.
I like that, a chain reaction. So he's not just talking about economic freedom here.
Right.
He's talking about freedom in a much broader sense.
Absolutely. He even draws parallels with Adam Smith, the father of modern economics and the Declaration of Independence, emphasizing that profound link between economic and political freedom.
Okay, so freedom is key. We've got our three keys now. Capital, energy, and freedom.
The trifecta.
But how do they all fit together?
That's the big question.
It is.
Well, Gonzalez, he argues that freedom, it's the key that unlocks the potential of capital and energy.
Okay.
He believed that without individual liberty, the drive to innovate, to take risks, to invest, it would be stifled. It's you've got this powerful engine, but no fuel to make it run.
So freedom, it's like the spark that ignites the whole economic engine. It allows people to channel their energy and their creativity into building businesses, developing new technologies, and, ultimately driving progress. But doesn't that also open the door for potential abuses? What about the need for regulations to make sure things are fair and to protect consumers?
That's a great question. And you know what? Gonzalez doesn't shy away from it.
Okay.
He acknowledges that a purely what do they call it? Laissez-faire approach. It can lead to problems.
Yeah.
He believes in fair regulations, the kind that promote competition and prevent monopolies.
Right. So you don't want one giant company controlling everything.
Exactly.
Got to have some competition.
But he's also wary of excessive government intervention. He argues that it can stifle innovation and hinder economic growth.
So it's all about finding the right balance. Enough regulation to ensure a level playing field, but not so much that it becomes a burden on businesses and entrepreneurs.
Right. It's a tightrope walk.
It's a debate that's still very much alive today.
Oh, absolutely. And Gonzalez, he makes this really insightful point about the challenges of long-term planning in a democratic society.
Okay, interesting.
He argues that democratic governments can sometimes struggle to build capital because voters, well, they tend to favor short-term benefits over long-term investments.
That makes sense. It's easier to get people excited about a tax cut today than it is to convince them to invest in like infrastructure projects that might not pay off for years or even decades.
Exactly. But those long-term investments, they're often crucial for sustained economic growth. Gonzalez, he seems to be warning against short-sighted policies that prioritize immediate gratification over long-term prosperity.
It makes you wonder how he would view our current economic landscape. We're dealing with so many complex issues: globalization, automation, climate change, issues that he couldn't have even imagined back in 1951.
It is fascinating to think about, isn't it?
Yeah?
But despite all the changes that have occurred since then, Gonzalez's core arguments about the importance of individual initiative, the power of technological progress, and the enduring value of freedom, they still feel incredibly relevant.
And it's not just about economics, is it?
What do you mean?
He seems to be making a broader point about human nature. He believed that people thrive when they're given the freedom to pursue their own goals and dreams.
Right. He ties freedom directly to the pursuit of happiness, highlighting how individual initiative, driven by the desire for a better life, can ultimately benefit everyone through increased prosperity and innovation.
So it's not just about material wealth. It's about creating a society where individuals have the opportunity to reach their full potential and to contribute to the common good. But Gonzalez, he doesn't stop there. He also emphasizes the crucial role of education in making all of this possible.
Education is key.
Absolutely.
He sees it as the foundation upon which a thriving economy is built. He argues that it's essential for individuals to understand and effectively utilize capital, energy, and of course, freedom.
It's like education is the key that unlocks the potential of all the other keys. Without it, you're just fumbling around in the dark.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that he sees education as a powerful tool for social mobility. He argues that it helps to level the playing field, providing opportunities for individuals to advance based on merit rather than, inherited status.
That's a powerful idea. He's basically saying that education can empower individuals to break free from the constraints of their circumstances and achieve their full potential, regardless of their background.
Precisely. And this ties back to his core belief in individual initiative as the engine of progress. He believed that a society that values education and provides opportunities for everyone to learn and grow will be a society that is both prosperous and just.
But even with all this talk about capital, energy, freedom, and education, Gonzalez, he doesn't forget about the human element. He wraps up his essay with a reminder that material progress alone isn't enough.
He gets it.
He acknowledges that Americans in 1951, they had achieved a remarkable level of material prosperity. But he cautions against forgetting the importance of non-material things like family, community, and a sense of purpose.
It's almost like he's saying, hey, don't get so caught up in the pursuit of wealth that you forget what truly matters in life.
It's a surprisingly philosophical note to end on, don't you think?
Absolutely. It reminds us that even in a deep dive into economics, we can't lose sight of the human element. Gonzalez understood that true prosperity encompasses not just material wealth, but also a sense of well-being and fulfillment.
He was writing at a time when America was, in many ways, a model for the world, a beacon of prosperity and freedom. He proudly presented the U.S. economy of 1951 as a prime example of what can be achieved when you combine these three keys: capital, energy, and freedom.
And he wasn't shy about it.
No, he wasn't.
He practically beams with pride when he describes the achievements of the American economy. He acknowledges that Americans are always striving for improvement, always looking for the next big thing. But he cautions against forgetting the fundamentals that made the system successful in the first place.
He seems to be saying, don't take your success for granted. Remember the principles that got you here. And don't abandon them in the pursuit of something new and shiny.
Exactly. And he also acknowledges that, no system is perfect.
Right.
He recognizes that America still faced challenges in 1951, particularly when it came to ensuring that the benefits of economic progress were shared more widely, and that everyone had equal opportunity to succeed.
It's like he's saying, okay, we've built this amazing economic engine, but now we need to make sure that everyone has a chance to ride in the car.
That's a great analogy.
Thank you.
And it's a challenge that we're still grappling with today. How do we ensure that the fruits of economic growth are distributed fairly, and that everyone has a chance to participate in the prosperity.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers. But Gonzalez believed that the key lay in continuing to invest in education, promoting entrepreneurship, and fostering a culture of innovation and opportunity.
He saw the success of the American economic system not as a reason for complacency, but as a call to action.
I like that.
He urged America to take a leadership role in spreading the principles of a free economy and helping others understand the true drivers of progress.
It's a powerful message, and one that's especially relevant in our interconnected world. Gonzalez believed that the key to a better future for everyone lay in embracing the principles that had made America great: capital, energy, and freedom. He saw these as the building blocks of a more prosperous and peaceful world. So here we have this economist, standing before a room full of managers in 1951, laying out his vision for economic progress. And what's remarkable is how many of his insights still resonate today, over 70 years later. It really is amazing how relevant his ideas still are.
It speaks to the power of, fundamental principles, right?
Yeah.
Like, the world has changed so much since 1951, but those core ideas about individual initiative, technological progress, and freedom, they still hold up.
They do. We've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah.
From the importance of capital, the transformative power of energy, to the essential role of freedom and education. Gonzalez really gives us a comprehensive framework for understanding how economies grow, how societies progress. And he does it in a way that's both insightful and engaging, vivid language, compelling examples.
Yeah, he doesn't just throw a bunch of dry economic theory at you.
Exactly. It's a deep dive that's intellectually stimulating, but also surprisingly relevant to the challenges we face today. So I'm curious, what stood out to you from all of this? What really struck you about Gonzalez's ideas?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's the way he connects these seemingly disparate elements, capital, energy, freedom, education. And he shows how they all work together to create a thriving economy. He doesn't just present them as a list of ingredients. He weaves them into this compelling narrative about human progress and the pursuit of a better life.
It's a good point. He's not just talking about numbers and statistics. He's talking about people, about creating a system that empowers individuals to pursue their dreams,
Right.
to innovate, to build a better future for themselves and their communities.
Absolutely. That idea of empowerment, it really resonated with me too. Gonzalez believed that individuals, driven by their own aspirations and talents, are the true engine of economic progress. But he also recognized that they need the right environment to flourish, an environment that provides access to capital, abundant energy, and most importantly, the freedom to take risks and pursue their own path.
Yeah, and he didn't shy away from the complexities and challenges of creating that kind of environment. He acknowledged the need for a balance, right, between individual freedom and collective responsibility,
Right.
between the pursuit of profit and the well-being of society as a whole.
Exactly. He was grappling with these big questions: the tension between short-term gains and long-term investments, the fact that no system is perfect, there will always be trade-offs and challenges.
It's a framework for thinking about economic progress that's both inspiring and challenging. It pushes us to think beyond simplistic solutions and to really grapple with the complexities of creating a system that's not just productive, but also sustainable and equitable.
And it's a conversation that's more relevant than ever today, as we face a whole new set of economic challenges: globalization, automation, climate change, issues that, like we said, Gonzalez couldn't have even imagined back in 1951.
Right.
But his core principles, the power of individual initiative, the importance of technological progress, the enduring value of freedom, they provide a valuable lens through which to view these challenges and to search for solutions.
Gonzalez's essay really leaves us with a lot to ponder. How do we ensure that the benefits of economic progress are shared more widely? How do we balance the need for regulation with the importance of preserving individual freedom and fostering innovation? And how do we adapt his insights to the unique challenges of the 21st century?
Big questions.
Big, important question.
Questions that each of us needs to grapple with as we navigate this complex world.
Exactly. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these issues. What resonated with you from Gonzalez's vision? What insights can we apply to our own lives and communities as we strive to create a more prosperous and equitable future? Share your reflections with us on our website or social media. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.